Welcome to The Inevitable, a podcast by MotorTrend.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of The Inevitable. This is MotorTrend's podcast, our vodcast about the future of transportation, the future of the car, and today we're talking to a guy from a company that actually invented the car. So it's also about the past in some ways. However, before then, this guy, Ed Lowe, has a special message just for you.
The Inevitable podcast is brought to you by the all-electric Nissan Aria, inspired by the future, designed for the now. And right now, we have no question. So you guys don't send us stuff. We don't answer it.
Yes.
Sorry. So we'll just talk about our guest because we did go long with him. Dimitris Psillakis, President and CEO of Mercedes-Benz North America. He has held this position since 2021, but he's been with the company since 1992.
Wow.
Since Jonny was a junior in high school.
Graduated in 93, so that's correct, Ed.
Yes.
Yes. I went to first year of Lollapalooza.
And wow. People, Lollapalooza?
Yeah, that's right.
This
Body
guy,
Count, Rollins Band.
Oh my God.
Remember it like it was yesterday.
Yes. Psillakis, if you talk about a guy who has, and with apologies to people who live in Greece, but started like on Pluto and ended up on Earth. He started as a management trainee at Mercedes-Benz Hellas, which is apparently the Greek subsidiary. And I mean, this dude he worked in Brazil. He would manage South America,
Korea,
like van sales in Brazil. He tripled the volume and made them the number one brand in Brazil. He joined Mercedes-Benz Korea in 2015. They became the fifth largest market in the world for Mercedes-Benz cars.
Wow.
Yeah, the guy's been all over the world for the three-pointed star. He's got a degree from the University of Kent at Canterbury. And
that's why his English is so excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
As well as the Imperial College Business School at the University of London. And we annually get to know him at Pebble Beach, which we talk about a little bit.
I'll forever be a fan of his because there's this thing called the Tour de Elegance. So on Sunday, you have the Concours d'Elegance, where you have about $1 billion worth of cars sitting on the lawn at Pebble Beach. The tour takes place on Thursday, and you take a lot of the cars. You can't win the Concours d'Elegance unless you participate in the Tour d'Elegance, and they start up at Peter Hayhill, top of Pebble Beach, drive over Bixby Bridge down the Highway 1. They had the prototype for the Maybach SUV, the electric Maybach EQS SUV, whatever it is. What are you doing?
The one that bounces?
No, non-bouncer. This is the electric one. The electric one. And I was with Mercedes, and I showed up thinking I was going to ride in like an open top, like 1927, W06 Mercedes or whatever. And I don't know, Michael's a PR guy. Michael, me and Dimitri were talking, and Dimitri goes, "Do you want to drive the lead car?" And I was like, "Yes." And so I got to actually drive the lead vehicle on the Tour de Elegance, which is like, kind of a once in a lifetime, maybe if you're lucky, twice in a lifetime thing.
He didn't want the liability, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
it was cool. It was very cool.
Dimitri, we're going to quiz him all about Mercedes-Benz product strategy for the North American market, what they're doing in EVs, what they're doing with software, Formula One, the whole nine yards.
And also retreating a little bit on EV because, I didn't bring it up on the episode, but I was in Portugal a couple of years ago talking with one of their designers, and it was about that Maybach SUV, and I asked him a question like, what does this thing mean, or whatever. He asked designers questions, and he goes, "Man, I don't know." He's like, "I designed that 6 years ago," and I go, "Oh, so you've designed all the 2029 cars already?" He goes, "Oh yeah." I go, "Any gas?" He goes, "No." So big retreat.
As you'll hear, they're going to keep gas going into the 2030s.
Yeah.
So, but without further ado, let's not spoil it. Dimitris Psillakis, President, CEO, Mercedes-Benz North America. All right, so.
Welcome.
Dimitri, this is long time coming. I think we started talking about this at Pebble Beach two Pebble Beaches ago at the, what's it called? What's that place at the end? The Sunday night.
Baja Cantina?
No.
With the Mercedes dinner. Big
dinner.
dinner.
Yeah, the Mercedes dinner.
Yes.
With that I always crash.
Yes,
and
me
we're
too.
like, you should be on the podcast. And he's like, I should. The problem being, we record in person, and this is a very busy gentleman right here.
Who doesn't live in Los Angeles.
Who does not live in Los Angeles. lives at the headquarters of Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, fair to say. And he happens to be in town on the way to the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So thanks again for coming on. We promise only a light grilling about all the future product plans.
But
for Mercedes-Benz.
Congratulations are in order.
Yes.
The E-Class, so the 2025 E-Class, the 7th generation?
It's the 10th generation.
Is it a 10th?
But
Oh,
let
wow.
me first say thank you for inviting me and hosting me here today. I'm very happy to be with you guys.
Yeah.
And thank you. I'm very proud and honored.
Yeah, well, it won MotorTrend's Car of the Year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a
Big deal.
big honor in our world, and I think in the car world. So
And I've been driving one for the last 3 days. What is your favorite part about the E-Class, this new generation?
Look, I said before, the E-Class is the 10th generation of E-Class. So the E-Class product started in the early 60s. It has evolved as the vehicle which incorporates the latest technology of Mercedes-Benz. So what I see on the E-Class, when I see the outside, is a beautiful design, a beautiful sedan, very characteristic and very Mercedes if you see the details around the product. When you come into the vehicle, you have a very luxurious, comfortable interior, beautiful screen with the technology of our MBUX latest system, and a vehicle which is easy and fun to drive. So it's one of my favorite products.
All right. Yeah, it was obviously one of our judges.
no, it was their favorite.
It was their favorite.
It's a vote at the end of the day.
I know. So we're going to be basically celebrating it all month long. I think this episode's coming out right in the middle of us making a lot of noise with our announcement. We're doing a media tour. There's articles all over the site. What else as we wrap up 2024 and go into 2025? What else are you working on for North America, for the U.S. market in particular?
For 2024 or looking to
For
2025?
Is whatever you want to tell us about.
I think 2024 has been a very important year for us in terms of new vehicle launches, and you've been accompanying us throughout the year with both electric, plug-in hybrids, and ICE. And this is part of our philosophy and strategy going forwards, offering all technologies and putting it in the hands of the customer to decide what they want to drive. I would say the latest launch just last month is the electric G-Class. So an iconic product with 40 plus years of history, a very robust product, went fully electric. And I think this is quite an achievement for our brand.
I spent a lot of time with one of those, and I gotta say, you electrified a G-Class. Like I felt like the only thing holding it back was the fact that it had to be a G-Class. Like it's. I think most owners, if they owned a gas one, if they got into it, they really wouldn't even notice the difference, except for how you charge it up or fuel it up.
Right.
It was like. It was interesting, contrasting with what you guys have done with your other electric vehicles, like the EQs specifically, where they're pretty radical, in terms of design, in terms of efficiency, and just I don't know, just behavior. Like if you the EQS compared to the S-Class, they're very, very different machines currently. Whereas the G550, which we spent time with at SUV of the Year, and did well. It was actually a finalist. It did really well. And electric G, the G580, it was almost no difference. I think the electric one's better off-road. I was kind of shocked because I do a lot of electric off-roading, and boy, you might have a new champion in the off-road segment. But other than that, it was a G-Class.
It's exactly
through and through.
And I recall our discussions we've had a couple of years back in Pebble Beach when I was pitching the electric G coming up, and had all these intense discussions how it would be, how can you electrify and this shape and this kind of car. But yes, with 4 engines and with a lot of technology, it's a fun to drive and amazing, or it surprises you with its off-road capabilities.
Have customers taken delivery yet?
Yes.
What's been the feedback from the customers?
Great. They're impressed from obviously the torque that the vehicle is offering, the smoothness in driving, the capability it has, and it calls the attention that the G-Class is calling, right? Because it's I mean, from the outside, you don't see the differences.
Yeah, very, very subtle differences.
Except you had one very specific complaint.
Oh, well, yeah, I had the one that didn't have a spare tire. Yes, and I went off-roading and got a flat. Yes, that was a big complaint, but all resolved. And, look, if I had bought one, I would have ordered, obviously, with the spare tire. Yeah. How, are these, the customers, are they existing G-Class customers, or are these new to the brand?
Look, we're in the happy situation that the G-Class has a waiting list on customers.
Across the board, right?
Exactly. Across the board. Whether it is the 550, whether it is the 580, the electric, or whether it is the 63, the most noisy and present vehicle. So I would say today it's more customers which are first fan of the G-Class, of the design, of the technology that it delivers, and then they are customers which come out of an electric vehicle, or they have also an electric vehicle, a sedan or whatever in their driveway.
Got it. Okay.
But it's very early. It's only 1 month in the markets. It's hot.
Yeah.
And the demand again.
So there is good amazing demand for it.
Yes.
And what about the G550? How's that
it's
doing?
Out of the, let's say, the new G-Class, which we started launching this summer, the 550 was the first product in the markets, already 4 months now in the market. The electric G was launched in November along with the G63. So the 550 was the first one, and the demand, obviously, for it being the newcomer with all the new developments and the new the keyless go, the touches and design, the touchscreen, the little amendments that the vehicle had, the new engine and whatever, it has received a lot of attention. Positive attention. Yeah.
So first of the new product questions. Are we going to see an electric G-Class squared, 4x4 squared, or a 6-wheel? Is that in the plans?
We have nothing there, so you're picking now for news. No, there's nothing in the pipeline, but always the G-Class is a product which allows a lot of creativity, right? So let's see what our guys are working up in the headquarters.
Right.
My
guess
with portal axles would be
but my guess is what they're going to do, because it launched, the 580 launched with 1 more horsepower than the G63, but it's in kind of the same segment. Like Rivian and Cyber Beast are over 1,000 horsepower with quad motors. So I think, and I know you're not going to confirm, but there's going to be like a G65 on top of the G63, which will be a mega output hot rod AMG electric AMG G-Wagon. So that would be my guess if I was.
I'm not taking bets, but I can definitely tell you that there's a lot of creativity around this product and a lot of good ideas.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, Jonny, is it the best electric 4x4, best electric off-roader?
Boy, I mean, so I had.
You can take your truck out of I'm
saying so. No, I mean, because the Rivian SUV is just as capable as the pickup truck is.
Sure, really.
Yeah, it's just as capable. The one I had, the launch edition G580, was on low rolling resistance street tires. I took it up a trail that is a double black diamond trail, and there was one spot that it couldn't go up. And what's cool about this trail is there's always 3 ways to go up, so you can do the the easy, medium, or hard way up. And there's one spot where, like, my truck on off-road tires, when they're aired down, it can get up to the Rivian R1T. It struggles, but it can get up. But like a 4Runner wouldn't make it up. So the G580 couldn't do that, but I think it was tire limited. And the other thing was, I was never really past 10% throttle. That's the difference. Like if you do off-roading with an internal combustion car, even a G63, and I've taken a ton of them up there, you're doing a lot of flooring it to get torque, because torque shows up higher up in the rev range a lot of times. And I mean, it was like just a constant 10%. It just kind of elegantly made its way up some incredibly difficult obstacles. I was blown away. I was actually blown away by how well it did off. I was, like I said, I was sort of like, boy, with these motors, you could have made a better vehicle if it wasn't a G-Class. If you could have like raked the windshield, made it longer, got more battery in there. Like, wow, I could see like if this was like a GLS, this would be fantastic. Because, the range isn't, it's like 240, 260 miles.
Yeah.
But then I went off road and was like, oh, whoa. Like this goes, like it really goes. And it was on, again, like street tires.
And without effort, basically.
No effort.
Yeah. That's the control of the engines and the electronics make a big difference.
Yeah, and I'd experienced, I went to Arjeplog last February, March.
Sweden.
In Sweden, and I was a passenger, but I saw what the electric G was capable of on like almost zero grip, and I was, I know like 4 motors provides incredible control, and there's a reason you do it for an off-roader. It really does have an advantage in a lot of situations, but I just like the rock crawling ability of the thing it was crazy.
Looking for the best off-road trails? OnX Off-Road has you covered. With over 750,000 miles of trails and comprehensive offline maps, you can explore without worrying about cell service. Easily find trails for 4x4s, ATVs, dirt bikes, and more. Our app provides detailed trail info, including difficulty ratings and open/closed dates. OnX Off-Road also helps you navigate public and private land boundaries, ensuring you stay legal. Try OnX Off-Road free for 7 days and discover why it's the go-to app for off-roaders. Download now. So awesome on the G-Wagon. I want to go back to something you said earlier about the range of powertrains on offer for the consumer and how you have internal combustion, you have hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full battery electric. We were having this conversation actually just yesterday with the guest about how, when we started this podcast, I think you're going to be episode 105. So this is 3 years ago we started this podcast, and the mood in the industry was electric, go as fast as you can. And now everybody's like, ooh, we got to have some hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and e-rev seems to be what everybody's talking about, right? Extended range electric vehicle. Stellantis is coming out shortly with a number of vehicles. They're probably going to be the first out with an e-rev truck. Scout from the VW Group has announced both an e-rev truck and SUV. As far as I know, and I tried to do some research before this, I don't think any of the other German car companies, not Mercedes or BMW, have e-revs in the pipeline. Although you do have plug-in hybrids. Is there any distinction? Do you see, is this something customers are asking for, or you guys are planning on bringing as?
I think on one hand, you're absolutely correct. There is a change in narrative compared to a couple of years back or a few years back, because the customer is defining at the end which products we should put in the market. And there was a certain hype on the electric vehicles, driven very much by regulations, right? In the state we're in the country, but also go back in Europe, right, which drove a hype on the electrics. And again, customer demand did not follow on the same ramp or speed. So we adjust, and so we declared that we'll continue offering our ICE products, nice E-classes and G-classes, well into the 2030s. We had plug-in hybrids in place. We brought one excellent, the best range in the market, the GLC 350 E with 56 miles EPA range, fully electric, and the other models which will come looking forward. So all technologies are there now. How we would move in future, whether it's a range extender or whatever, it's also a matter of what fits best the character of the vehicle and what fits best the customer needs. There are ways and there are ways. So on that, we're still on the works. But for sure, we'll follow what's best for the customer in the specific markets.
Okay. Can you talk a bit about, because what you're, I think, the customer, the narrative change or the customer pivot, I think most people agree it's, before it was range anxiety, right? And now a lot of the EVs have the range, but it moves to charge anxiety because a lot of potential customers either do not have the ability to charge at home or for whatever reason, even if they do,
road trips or a thing.
Where they live, the access to chargers has been poor. Has it been? Does that track for the Mercedes-Benz customer? Were you getting feedback that I'd love to buy an EV, but the charging infrastructure sucks? And then if so, and I know Mercedes is planning on building out some more luxurious chargers, but in your role, how do you get people into EVs?
Yeah, so it's a perfect point, because at the end, it's not only bringing a capable, nice design vehicle in the market, electric vehicle, but it's also offering convenience to our customers. And the concerns are, what is the range? Where can I charge? How fast can I charge? Right? And these are answers that we have to give to the customer. We cannot provide everything, but we have to give these answers. And I think we have taken that fully to heart, and not only delivering, as I said, the products in every segment, but also engaging on a charging infrastructure. You said it's I would call them branded Mercedes-Benz charging stations. Of course, we cannot fill up the country with that, but we have a solid plan of 450 points in North America. We're well advanced in this plan, and mostly going to places where the customers would make a stop, right? Where the market is and where our customers are driving their vehicles. We already have collaborations. We announced that with Starbucks, for example, on placing charging stations in points, with Bakis when it comes to the south of the country. So in locations where the customer will be. That's one thing. Second, we have engaged along with other 6 manufacturers in this IONA charging network, which also is being deployed on a fast speed. Highly invested on that. And last but not least, we also announced that our vehicles will be the new generation, starting with the CLA next year, will be offering the NACS as well as the CCS charging plug. And our vehicles will be soon capable of charging the existing ones, so the products are in the market, but also the upcoming at the Tesla network, meaning that we plan to offer the maximum convenience of whatever stations are in the country or are coming in place for our vehicles to charge, for our customers to have the convenience of a fast charging.
That's
a convenient and fast charging.
Right. Yeah, you literally said it. You're covering all the bases. You're going to do 450 of your own branded, more luxurious Mercedes-Benz stations where your customers are. You're joining IONA, which we've talked about, which is this consortium of all these other OEMs. And then you're joining NACS, the Tesla supercharger station. Okay.
And all that through our ecosystem, right? So the customer does not have to use different apps or different whatever.
Right, you just plug in or use the app.
Charge. Exactly.
But it's got to be frustrating because, I remember when I drove the EQS for the first time, I think it's rated like 380 miles of range and I was getting like 410. I was not prepared for how efficient that vehicle is. And I'm like, you don't even need to charge. I mean, I'm going to just caveat, I think most Mercedes customers have a house. I'm sure the data bears that out.
Several homes.
Yeah, several homes. So man, that's more range than people need, and I hate to define needs for anybody, but you came out with this great luxurious high efficiency big range vehicle, and people are worried about where to charge it. It's just charge it at home. You're probably not driving more than 400 miles in a day.
But you see, this is all a matter of mindset, right?
Right.
Changing the way you're thinking, and I'm sure today and everyday customer who's not experienced with an electric vehicle, he never thinks when he starts his travel, where would I add gasoline to my vehicle?
Right.
You start to travel, whether it is a 9-hour drive, a 20-hour drive, or 3-hour drive, you just jump in the car and you go out.
Is that a uniquely American problem because we drive such big distances? I know in my little experience in Europe, people don't drive as big of distances as often. Is that just something that plagues Americans? Those 2 times a year I go on a road trip, where am I going to charge? Is that?
I would say partly yes, because first you drive long distances. Second, you drive a lot, right?
Gas is cheap.
Yeah, gas is cheap.
Still cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you drive your cars a lot. In Europe, you have much more use of public transportation. Distances are shorter. Density of the network, let's say, it's of a charging network. It's bigger. It's easier to achieve than in the US.
I want to go back to something Jonny said and just sort of pressure test you on this. I heard early on Porsche, when they rolled out the Taycan, had a problem where buyers were initially excited, interested. They would buy the car, and then a month goes by, they'd be back to the dealer and say, "I don't want it. I don't get this. I don't get the charging." And it was mostly an older customer. It was the loyal customer. They had to be one of the first to get the Taycan. And then for a period of time, dealers had a number of very low mile Taycans sitting on their lots that they then had to sort of contend with. Did you have the same situation with the loyal Benz, like the S-Class owner who then maybe got an EQS and was like, it doesn't work. Can't figure it out. Not putting a charger in, or nothing like that?
No, not really. No? To the contrary, I would say customers which moved from an ICE vehicle to an electric, or added an electric vehicle in their driveway, because it's not either or, right? So
Sure.
Customers are happy for the convenience, for the reliability. As you said, once you drive it, then you realize, okay, why should I worry? I have 300, 350 miles, whatever.
Or more.
That's for my daily use, it's make no difference, right? Wow. And I have the convenience of plugging when I park my car in the driveway or in my garage or in the office. I plug and I never need to stop in a gasoline station.
No more gas stations.
Pick up the smelly gas nozzle, right? Yeah. Or be exposed. So I would say the contrary. People who drive the vehicle and enjoy the technology, enjoy the smooth drive, the torque, what you said, which is important. If you don't drive an electric vehicle, you don't get the feeling of how little you need to play with the gas pedal and get fun out of it.
I mean, I remember I was driving the lovely V12 Maybach sedan around, and I'd been in, I can't remember what it was. It might have been an EQS, but a big electric sedan the week before. And on the big V12, I went to get in front of somebody in traffic, and I had to push the pedal, wait for the lag, wait for the transmission to shift. And I was like, oh, this thing needs to be electric yesterday,
I had a selfish reason for asking that question. Good answer. How did we convince my dad, who is he has owned many Mercedes-Benz. He was a retired cardiologist. Currently they're older. He has an SL 500. He has a E450 wagon, which I love, which he did European delivery on. And prior, he had an S500 he did European delivery on. I keep saying, hey, man, you don't drive at all. Go electric. He's like, And his point of reference is he drove in his neighbor's Tesla Model S, and he didn't like the ride, which I thought was sort of interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you do European delivery on EQS?
No, we have stopped the European delivery along with the COVID times, and it's something which we are working.
Wait, European period on all European delivery, or just
all the European delivery?
Really,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, people would not travel and whatever, so it became an issue. But we're looking into that back. But come back to your father. I mean, you should give him. We should give him an electric Mercedes to drive, not an electric Tesla. So that's if he comes. I mean, here I have to be an advocate of my brand, right?
Yes.
If you come out of the vehicles he's driving, SL and S550 and E450, he's driving the best of our line, right?
Yeah.
And then he's accustomed with quality, comfortable drive, no squeaking noises, whatever. So he should drive an equivalent electric vehicle.
To be honest, I think, and this is a problem I think a lot of people of our generation need to contend with, the screens in the car, it's not me, it's actually my brother he calls because he can't get the Wi-Fi to work. And I think when he sees the screens, he's gonna be like, what is, come on. So we gotta, there's gotta be some middle ground or pathway that we need to work on.
And that's also, sorry, Jonny, this is also the balance we try to bring, right? Obviously an electric, an EQS, as you said before, has enough buttons and enough technology on the screen to play with as a customer, because people like your father and like me, you need still to pull the button and lower the window,
Right.
or I don't know, open the sunroof, right? You cannot expect to do everything on. They don't expect to do everything on a screen, and this is a generational issue.
Well, I was going to say, I remember, it was over 10 years ago now, but I drove Rolls-Royce had an electric Rolls-Royce Phantom experimental model, and I went and drove it, and it was the perfect Rolls-Royce. It was like silent, torque, more room because there's no drive shaft, so you had a bigger rear seat. And, and I was like, this is incredible. And when we talked with Rolls-Royce, they're like, our customers hate it. They hate it. Why? They just hate it. But now they have the Spectre out, which is doing very well for them, and their customers love it. So it took like just time. And also the average age of their customer over that decade went from like 83 to 43. I mean, it was a huge, like a lot of young people are buying Rolls Royces for whatever reason. And I think, I remember like 20 years ago when hybrids were first coming out, everyone hated them. Oh, so horrible. Now everyone's like, I don't want an EV, I want a hybrid. Yes. So it's just time, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it becomes inevitable that.
Exactly.
This is his big joke. It becomes inevitable that, like for personal use. I don't know, we got to solve for apartment dwellers, but personal use, like a single family vehicle needs to be electric. I don't know what it needs to be, but like it's a better solution.
It's a better solution, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no room for, I keep talking about this, my $1 billion idea, which if you want to invest in, we can talk after. It's called dumb car, which is, it's the opposite of a smart car. You buy it once, there's no subscription, doesn't take any of your personal information, there's no screens in the car, it doesn't do anything for you, and you own it forever, and it runs on this dinosaur juice that's available on the ground. But I know it's a silly idea, one of the ideas though is reducing the number of screens, going back to, have the latest technology, the powertrain and everything, all of the advances and the range and the fast charging, but with much more traditional, well understood controls. And I think Scout's kind of going with that. There's more buttons and knobs than there is screen. I also know there's a manufacturing and cost reduction efficiency to just having a screen and then programming it and changing it and updating over time. But isn't there, to your point, Rolls-Royce, they're updating the technology, but they're not doing a ton with
nothing.
The actual
nothing.
The
Literally,
physical controls.
It's the same. If you blindfolded a Ghost or a Wraith customer and threw them in the Spectre, they wouldn't know the difference.
Isn't that an opportunity for like a Maybach customer?
I think we need to find a balance because you have some traditional drivers which want the vehicle to be as simple as possible, what you said, and this we get also out of our studies and research. But at the same time, you have the new generation of people who want to have in the car the convenience and the facility they have with their mobile phone or when they're at home, where they can use this technology to continue their daily life while in the car. And if you consider we're spending more and more time in the car today because of traffic, because we live in the car, because, it's part also of the need to give this technology in the vehicle. Last point, Jonny.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah.
I'm
always chomping at the bit. Yeah.
No, I know you have to, but I give you more cords to come in. Last but not least, as the vehicles are giving us the chance now with all these driver assistance systems to be less engaged, or maybe with our level 3 driving assistant program for the S-Class or the EQS, you can basically take the hands off the wheel and let the vehicle drive in the freeways of Los Angeles, right? There, the screen is what you need. Your emails, a film, a phone call, a video call, whatever. So we need a balance. That's what I'm saying, right? There's no right or wrong for that.
I was just going to go back to, I really think it's generational. Like my, I have a 7-year-old son, and he's on his tablet too much, but he's on his tablet a lot. And he's writing with it, but he won't, like, I'm like, hey, use the keyboard. And he's like, no, he just uses the voice command, and again, like, people in their 20s, they've never,
doomed.
Well, yeah, they're also doomed, but like they've never held a magazine. You know what I mean? Like everything is on a screen.
I watched a kid swipe a magazine the other day. I was like, oh boy.
But you know what I mean? Like keyboards are sort of obsolete. You know what I mean? Like buttons, as much as people, I need buttons. Like, boy, when you have good software-defined vehicles and you're able to like update and make things better with better software, physical buttons, they sort of hamstring you. They tie your hand behind your back in a way.
I mean the same. My muscle memory is typing the address on the virtual keyboard of my screen of the car.
Right.
And the easiest thing is, hey Mercedes, drive me to. Boom. It's so much easier, but
right.
I go always until I realize I take my attention off. Right, trying to spell the address of the place I want to go. So yeah, it's generational.
Yeah.
We'll dive in there a little bit, but I want to come back to this thing you said about autonomous, because you brought up autonomous. So
Level 3.
You have Drive Pilot. Mercedes-Benz was famous for being the first in the world, right? To bring,
and first in California.
First in California to bring, which is the world.
Yeah.
To bring level 3 autonomous to the masses. Has that been a big selling point? Is this something, I mean, it's one thing to get our attention and the industry's attention, but is it something that the consumers have really responded to?
Real quick, just level 3, if you don't know, that is where the most important thing it does is the liability is on the back of Mercedes, not on the person sitting in the driver's seat. So even if you have full self-driving autopilot, that's level 2. It's very fancy level 2, but the liability is on you. So if the system kills someone, it's your fault. Whereas if the system somehow kills someone, it's Mercedes' fault. You don't want that to happen, but that's the advancement of what level 3 is.
You said it correctly, John. This is a difference, and also adds. Mercedes-Benz is the first brand which has been officially authorized by California and Nevada in the US to commercialize the level 3 driving system, as well as in Germany, right, which is where we started. So I think, coming back to your question, if this is something the customers are looking for, first of all, people do not know, right?
Right.
Second, people are confusing with the FSD or other systems which offer same
pretty good,
pretty good,
pretty
yes,
good, yeah.
But again, not to the point that saying, okay, I am responsible, me as a brand, when the system allows you to drive autonomously in this, and again, it's a system for freeways, basically, right?
Yep.
So it's for traffic jams, where the system is taking over and we take the responsibility. That's something which is not known out in the world. So it has some traction. Obviously, it's offered now on the S-Class and the EQS on the top range of our products. It's been from the ones which have invested and are using it, they're very happy. But again, it's not in the mass vehicle, and it's not throughout the country. Huh?
Okay. Well, at this point, I need to look directly at that camera and apologize to Jonny, because he said that numerous times about the liability falling directly on the OEM, on Mercedes-Benz, as being like the key definer. And I was always like, I think it's more that it also is a really good system. But for Dimitri to confirm it, is okay. Now I believe you.
Wow.
Let me get you. So the guy, the customer that has Drive Pilot and loves it, what's the profile of that person? Are they like a tech? Are they like a early adopter, Silicon Valley tech bro type with the vest and everything, or is it curious?
I would say first is someone who drives his vehicle, right? Because if you have a chauffeur and you sit at the back seat,
who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, right. You already have that.
You don't, Yes, you have the liability somewhere else, right? You don't need to. Second, these are customers of the brand. So this is not a customer which comes first time to Mercedes-Benz. It's someone who has the experience, trusts the brand, and yes, he's open to try and trust a new technology. And of course, someone who drives in traffic, right? Who drives in these conditions.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right.
But again, it's the first year we launched now in 2024. It's the first year in place.
No, and again, I mean, I just think it's fascinating because there are systems out there like, General Motors has Super Cruise and Ford has Blue Cruise, and they're very, very good systems. In fact, I recently went to Palm Springs, which is a 125-mile drive from where I live, in a Ford truck, and I maybe touched the steering wheel twice, and that was like to change freeways or something like that. Very, very good systems, but you got to sit there. They got cameras staring at your eyes. If you look away, it like beeps at you. Like whereas level 3 means the car's driving. Like you're just a passenger at that point. And
you tested it. You drove it in the freeway. And you see the consistency. We
watched a video. Ola Klinius, the CEO
Yes.
of Mercedes-Benz, had a little YouTube video that we watched while the car was driving itself. Like it was crazy. You know?
Yes.
So
Okay.
it was cool.
Let's switch into something more fun, which is on the performance side. What's Mercedes' philosophy on all of this, from electrification of high performance, of your AMG GT, to even adding some of these assistance systems? Is this other brands are leveraging torque in the batteries in different ways, from hybrids. Obviously, Mercedes done a lot with hybrid vehicle in the racing realm as well. But for what can consumers look forward to?
So we have our performance brand AMG, right? Which is basically taking technology out of our Formula One experience, out of racing, whether it's hybrid or whether it is a smaller displacement with very high output, and bringing into the daily performance driving for our vehicles. And I think we have done that quite successfully. If you consider, I can give a couple of examples. If you consider the C63 or the GLC 63, right, which has a super performance out of a hybrid system of a internal combustion engine, right? It's the most powerful 4-cylinder engine, plus an electric motor at the rear, delivering over 600 horsepower, right? Or when it comes to the S63 performance, reaching 860 horsepower, for example, out of these technologies being on a vehicle. And it's, yes, a V8 combined with the 4-cylinder V8 of the AMG combined with an electric motor. I think we give the best of technology, the best of performance, and as you said, with a very high torque from the very beginning, right? Where you need, and the vehicle can make the difference. Talking about 2.6, 2.9 seconds to 60 kilometers on a 5,000 pound heavy vehicle. So bringing the technology and the performance, AMG brings the technology and delivers performance on our products, and this is throughout the range, starting from the C-Class, going all the way up, or starting actually with the CLA. The CLA 45 is also a very good example of a great engine, right?
Yeah, it's a great car. Yeah.
A great car. I call it a go-kart, the go-kart of Mercedes, right? And going all the way up to the GT 63 SC performance that we launched weeks back.
Right.
Well, what about so is AMG like I know there was like an EQS and EQE AMG, and I think there was SUV versions as well. But is there like plans for I don't know, just electrified two-door or just further electrification, or is it like, because those are hybrids. They're not even plug-in hybrids. They're performance hybrids, I think is the term you guys use. But is there plug-in hybrid, full electric, or more full electrics, I should say?
So a good point. And here we follow the same strategy out of the Mercedes-Benz brand, where we say we offer the best of both worlds. We continue our investments on the ICE technology, and we go on full new platforms when it comes to electric vehicles. So AMG falls fully in line with this strategy. So you know pretty well our famous 4-liter V8, and it's the sound and the performance, whether it's on a G63 or on a GT, on a Cell, whatever. But now we come in the next couple of years with a pure electric AMG platform, which is designed from scratch for a performance electric vehicle of high performance, great torque and high performance. And this, obviously, we're looking into a sports car, which will come out of this platform, but also recently we announced that an SUV based on this platform will also come out. So we'll go full in on both with interesting technologies. You know that we're invested in axial flux technology, which is meaning performance from a very small electric engine. And we could show some of our technological breakthroughs, I would say, here in California when we launched when we presented our high performance concept car.
Right.
What was a year and a half back, down in South California in Carlsbad.
Right. So, do you have any like product news on that? Like, when will we see the first product off this electric AMG platform?
That could be in the late 26, early 27, I would say.
Okay.
Yes. So a couple of years ahead.
Is that Dr. Philip Skogstad? Is that the R&D? Is that Mercedes-Benz R&D? And do they work on that kind of stuff, or is that more the autonomous?
It's more on the the autonomous and the technology of the infotainment and technology side, but the whole development of the platform is done in Germany.
Okay.
But anyhow, the bits and pieces were developed in different parts of the world, right?
Sure.
When it comes to R&D.
Is that? I mean, and again, this is probably above all our pay grades, but is it frustrating that like, or is it liberating where it used to be you were just concerned? And I know over the years Mercedes has dabbled in electrification, dabbled in hydrogen, but like they build engines. Mercedes built a 5-cylinder, a 6-cylinder, and a great V8, and then suddenly now it's like, okay, we got to do that, and we got to do hybrids and plug-in hybrids and a full EV platform. Like, is it like, is it? I don't know. Is it?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
But
It sounds expensive.
But this is exactly. It's very costly. It needs lots of resources, and obviously we need to keep an eye on every new technology and how can we develop and be competitive in this segment. So it's a highly complicated exercise for the brand, but this is our strategy. This is the way we go forwards. As at the end, I go back to what I said at the beginning. The customer decides what he wants to drive, and we want to give him this option and choice.
Right.
Well, staying on high performance and getting even more fun. You've been in your current role since 2021. I think Netflix Drive to Survive came out around the same time. And then, prior to, I think around that time, America had won. The U.S. had one Formula One race.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
Texas,
And now we have 3.
Correct.
And of course, Drive to Survive is blown up. Everybody and their mother knows Formula F1 now. Has that race on Sunday actually meant you sold cars on Monday? Has the success of Toto and Lewis and now George, has that actually translated to, or is it more of a marketing thing? Like, how has it affected Mercedes-Benz globally, but then specifically US, would you say?
I would say on a global scale, it's good that United States being a big automotive market, right, and so much vested, so much in the blood of Americans racing, right? It's good that Formula One made it so much in the US and highly successfully, I would say. For us as a brand, we invest behind that because on one hand, it's again technologies which are developed in the racing field are coming into our daily drives, right? In the vehicle we drive every day. So it is important. And marketing is following. We do invest more and more into Formula One and more into engaging customers, our customers, AMG customers, with Formula One viewing. We do what we call race days. So we had 2 this year, one in Atlanta, one in Austin. Actually, in Atlanta, we did this race day in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So basically live broadcasting and commenting on the Formula One race of Montreal, which was on the same time zone. A lot of people, a big excitement. So it's something which is gaining speed. But I cannot tell you if this is landing on a new AMG sale the next day in the showroom. I think it's too early to see that happening. But definitely it's a good ground of engaging with our customers.
Is there, well, you mentioned you do a race day in Austin.
Right.
Is that the best race for Mercedes-Benz USA, or is Vegas or Miami? Which has the Miami has all your customers?
Miami is the Mercedes country.
Look, I think it depends how you see the event. Do you see it from the point of view of how much do I enjoy the race if I'm a race fan, or do I go to the Formula One race to enjoy the whole environments and being there. And I think Miami is offering the best deal, right?
Really?
It's an exciting race.
Look, last time I was at Miami race, Tom Cruise was standing in the AMG pits, and
Brad Pitt.
Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes was next door in the Ferrari pit, and
but
I mean that's crazy. And Michelle Obama showed up. I mean, it's a
but
crazy
prior
race.
to Miami, those guys would have been in Austin, and I would argue that Austin's arguably one of the best F1 races to go to purely from a spectator.
From
a spectator perspective.
Sure.
But that's the point, right? So if you try to combine everything, for me also, Kota is the best racetrack, right? It has the conditions. You can watch the race. You can feel everything. It's perfect. But people don't only go for the race, right? They go for what's around the race. And then the spectacle is in Miami at the moment.
And I would say this too.
I haven't been to Miami, so I don't know.
Yeah. So what I found really exciting about Miami was there was a buzz in the air that like F1 is here, whereas Vegas has a big event every day. Vegas is like,
so
great.
Vegas is a big show. Vegas is a big show for the spectators on TV, right?
Yes.
Because you give the chance to the rest of the world to see what's going on in Vegas, and that has a certain glamour. But for the ones who are there, it's midnight, it's cold,
Right.
you have other attractions, right? It's a different.
I'll just say
setup.
that thanks to Mercedes-Benz, about 10 years ago, I got to go to the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And it's not a great race to go to as a spectator. Like you get locked into your one seating area, and if
you were on the wrong yacht.
I was opposite the swimming pool, next, but all the Russian billionaire yachts were behind us, and there was one screen, and they're not playing the audio from the race, so you just see the cars go by, and you're like, I hope, it looks like they're, and it's like, and then you can't leave. So
I mean, look,
the best seat in the house for Formula One is your couch. Actually, if you want to watch the race, the TV feed
or the race
is
day, because
Yes.
you have this comfort, you have the comments from experts, right? And big screens, and you leave it, right?
Yeah,
and,
did you pay to do that in Atlanta? Do you have to go? Is it a ticket?
No, we invited customers for that. It's not open door, but
You have to buy a Mercedes.
I did when I went to Miami last year. We sat inside the stadium and watched on the Jumbotron, literally the Miami Dolphins Jumbotron. And we had audio, and we had a bartender, and there was like 6 of us. It was the greatest way to watch it. And you could hear the engines going around you, and you could just see it. It was perfect. That's the way to do it.
All right, last Formula One question. Lewis Hamilton has been with the team forever, and multiple world champion.
Arguably the greatest driver in history.
Is that a big loss that he's going to Ferrari for you? Are you can say no? We embrace. I had to look this guy's name, Kimi Antonelli. Great,
right?
He's good.
Joining George Russell. But is it? I mean, I think Americans, of all of the Formula One drivers, they probably know and identify with Lewis
and Max.
Well,
I think the whole of America, North and South America, has been identified extremely with Lewis, and definitely it's a name. You said, probably best driver.
You can really make that argument. Yeah, you can. Top three for
top 3 exactly.
Certain.
Exactly. And he was associated with the brand because Mercedes-Benz or Formula One Mercedes team grew with Lewis, and Lewis grew with Mercedes. And I think the fits and what was built over the years in terms of team performance, I think, is the most important thing, which led to all these 7 titles and. But obviously, everything has an end, right? So whether it is soon or later, it's an end. And we're happy because we had really a long and good life jointly with Lewis. Right. That makes space to new drivers now. You said Kimi is joining the team. I think he's has great performance so far as a driver. Very young, fits the brand from the whole profile. So we wish him good luck, and don't forget that also the specifications are changing in Formula One drastically.
Right.
In 2026, we talk about basically total new car in terms of engine, aerodynamics, whatever
size
comes there.
Yeah.
Yes, an engine which has to run, a car which has to run 50% of the race in electric and 50% on fuel. That's a big difference. So it's a totally new game in the next season, and I think Mercedes-Benz is getting prepared to play with a new player or partly new player and a new car.
Yeah, well, I wish him the best. Kimi, this guy Kimi has big shoes to fill because the real Kimi is one of my heroes.
Was a great guy.
Oh yeah, super hilarious. One of the best interviews in Formula One.
So that makes more sense, though. I mean, I the 50% of the time being electric, the technology transfer. Because I mean, there was the AMG ONE, which actually, can I ask you a question about the AMG ONE? Because that was, hey, let's stick a F1 motor, and we all know the story of like, well, that's really hard to put in a street car. But why didn't it come to the U.S.? Mm-hmm. What was the
issue was that, as you said, it's a very specific product. It's a Formula One engine.
Yeah.
In a daily drive car.
Which is crazy.
Yeah? Which is crazy, right? Small engine, over 1,000 horsepower, right? Yeah. It's crazy. So, but still, this vehicle has to fit into the standards,
regulations,
certification regulations, right? Which is very difficult to take a vehicle which is driving at 15,000 revs, right? And make sure that it complies with all the necessary regulations. Or, let's put it differently, if you would make it to comply, then it would not be a Formula One car for everyday drive. And our decision was we cannot and we do not want to hamper and reduce the fun of a product which is meant to be a Formula One, which everyone can drive, down to a vehicle which is going to be a hypercar, but still not a Formula One car. And therefore, as we could not go through that in US, in the US the vehicle is not imported, but it is driven in the streets of Europe. You know, it was in Monaco, it was here and there. You saw Toto, I'm sure, driving the car around. So some of the US customers bought it and kept it in Europe.
I'll leave his name out of it, but a colleague of yours at AMG, he said like, we all stuck our hands up, like, wow, what a great idea. Then after we made the decision to do it, we realized that you need 10 people with PhDs in mechanical engineering to turn it on. Yeah. Like, that's how complicated, they have to have, you turn on the brakes with a laptop, right. And we want to do it with a key fob. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yes, exactly.
So he was very candid about it, but it was
and that was the hard decision to take, right? But again, we leaned over, not change the character of the vehicle that we came up with producing, and that was the compromise.
Okay. We're running out of time. I have a couple more things I want to ask you about future technology. We've had a lot of time and really great experience chatting with folks like Magnus Osberg, the Chief Software Officer for Mercedes-Benz AG. Again, Dr. Philip Skogstad at Mercedes-Benz, our research and development, RDNA, great name, MBRDNA. Mm-hmm. And you guys have done some, in addition to Drive Pilot being the first level 3 system, which I think Skogstad helped get over the goal line. Mm-hmm. Magnus and I, last year at CES, we were talking about how Mercedes was the first to put ChatGPT 4 in as a test in
like 900,000 cars or something.
Not that many?
I thought it was a lot.
Yes, a beta version, yes.
And now you're moving away from, it's not not ChatGPT, it's a different AI assistant.
It's our AI, yes.
It's your AI.
Yes.
How's it going? The best story, if you want to go back and listen to it, was Magnus saying that
we asked him, what did you learn?
What did you learn? And he said, a lot of our customers apparently are pretty lonely. They just like to talk. They like to talk to the AI and just have a conversation with the AI while driving. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. Have you any fun stories, or you want to tell us about how that's going?
I think it's first of all, it's convenience again, right? It's a companion, as you said, and if you want to address younger generations, this is the way to communicate, right? And communicate fast. So it's gaining ground. Obviously, we're learning out of our experiences and our trials, and we continuously improve the system, along with the launch of the new CLA next year, which is our new generation electric, and it's ICE, so it's a hybrid technology that also will offer two different products on the same platform. We're also introducing our MB.OS, what Magnus has shared with you, which is the operating system that Mercedes-Benz is developing and is placing fully at the CLA.
And this replaces MBUX, the MBOS?
It's MBUX has been developed over the years already. The version that the E-Class, which you awarded, has the what we call 1.5, right?
Okay.
And the full deployment of our MBUX will come along with the MBOS introduction.
Okay.
OS is the underlying layer.
Got it.
MBUX is on top of it.
Exactly.
And then, so then are you saying that the next iteration or the next generation of this AI assistant will debut with the CLA?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that, what can we expect? Is it like a lot of people now are using Perplexity or ChatGPT on their phone and they're just like, boop, and they ask it a question and then it speaks it back or it puts it on screen. We're going to see the same ability through like, hey, Mercedes voice prompt or pushing a button on the screen somewhere?
Absolutely. Mostly voice controls, right? That the vehicle is capable of. And obviously with all the experience which is collected, and Philip and his team are collecting here, because we're developing, or let's say improving the system for the US customer locally. And this is the advantage of having MBRDNA in the US. We're making the system more user-friendly, more responsive, and yes, very, very supportive to the customer.
And it'll include all sorts of assistance, right? It's not just the simple stuff we know, like navigate, take me home, or adjust the temperature. Theoretically, you can do web search prompts or ask it different.
Let's leave that for the next podcast.
Okay. Well, I do ask you because you know, one of the things that we've been doing at MotorTrend is going to China a lot and looking and seeing and driving their cars, and they have a voice assistant at the most affordable level. They're not great. They're not all great. You know, we try them a little bit, but have you done much experimentation or testing of Chinese vehicles?
Absolutely. And we have strong base in China for the China markets, right. And there's a lot of benchmarking, obviously, which we're taking with them. Yes, but again, customer is different, right? So what might fit a Chinese customer would probably not fit a US customer.
Right.
So this is, I think, that the power we have by being so rooted and localized in the US with Mercedes-Benz RDNA, the research and development department of us, with manufacturing, with our sales operations, with our financing operations. We're very much taking care of the US customer, designing the product, developing the product for the US customer. Okay.
Well,
adapting it, yeah.
Well, let me riff off that, because I agree that the China market and the US market are different. Your counterpart at Ford, CEO Jim Farley, on the China market, he's been very outspoken about how advanced they are and how they're going to come and eat everybody's lunch. And he's been upfront about how Ford sales have been tanking in China. A lot of legacy Western have as well. And he said things like brands don't matter. And VW Group seen a huge decline. Ford again, GM. I've always posited that I think that I know I'm Chinese. The Chinese customer loves luxury goods. So I think certain brands don't matter.
Fords don't matter.
Yes.
3-pointed stars might matter. Yeah.
Yes. Do brands matter? Does Mercedes brand, does the star matter in China? Or
yes.
Will it?
Yes. It matters in China. It matters in the US. It matters in Germany. It matters in my home country, Greece, right? But there's always a certain degree of how much the brand matters and how much the content of the brand also weighs on a customer decision to choose your product or to invest in your product. And I think this is the balance that we need and to try to strike in every marketplace. Different for the Chinese customers, different demands, different priorities, different for the US.
Okay. All right. Let's get into we'll end on some fun questions. So what are you driving? What's in the garage? What's in Dimitri's garage at home?
This question I get in every podcast, in every interview, right?
Sorry.
So
Okay.
I'll give you my standard answer, which is I have the luxury of driving every vehicle I like.
Right.
And my team, my PR team, my product team is giving me the vehicle at a very early stage. So I have the fun of driving everything. Now, if you ask me what would be my daily drive, right? If I would not be a Mercedes-Benz officer, then I would say I would go for GLE for our SUV with 53 engine, which gives you the best of two worlds, right? It's not an extreme performance car, but it gives you enough power, good sound, good feeling, good space, good everyday driving.
The GLE is really good.
Yeah,
we had one. I had one for a year as a long-term tester, and I still think like what a nice vehicle that was. Yeah, it's just kind of a great all-rounder.
It's a balance. Because why an SUV? Because of putting my bicycle in or taking the dog along. If I would be in Europe and not doing that, I would be driving an E-Class. That's also the really best
car of the year.
Best you can get.
Are you a member of this secret club of a number of automotive executives that also owns a certain German sports car with its engine in the rear?
Also from Stuttgart?
No, I don't belong in this group.
Okay.
But I have my love, and he knows it because we discussed about that. My fun car is an SL 450 of 9080. Right, okay. Which is a California car.
R107, maybe.
I love it. Yeah, I love it, and that's my fun car back home in Greece.
Okay, those are going up in
eternal value. Yeah,
I mean that's one of the talk about all-time designs. I mean, Bruno Sacca at the height of his powers, right? I mean, it's perfect.
Yes,
Bruno Sacca, R.I.P.
He did. Yes, he just passed away. Yeah, we've been losing some good designers lately. Yeah,
well, that was.
I mean, we can keep going, but
we're going to ask him questions about AI and Formula One in a couple of years.
I do have one question. It's kind of level 3, maybe getting to level 4, but California, Nevada, Germany, level 3 works. What about the other states, the rest of the world? Do you see like now that apparently Elon Musk is going to cut all regulations and red tape in the U.S. Is it like? Great, no regulations. Like, what's just the quick future of autonomy from where you're sitting?
Yeah.
What do you see?
For us, obviously, we're working with other states to communicate, to promote, to convince them to move with similar regulations like Nevada and California. We're very proud of California being the first in the U.S. to adopt and be brave in moving forward and
but I mean,
certifying.
To get California to do something first that requires cutting through red tape was wild.
Yes. And we're working with other states to continue that, because obviously a customer does not buy a product to only drive it or make use of it in one state, and he crosses to Arizona, and then some of his functionalities are not functional anymore. So we're working on that, but beyond that, we're also working in developing further technology to be able to drive on higher speeds with other elements. Obviously, the top target is level 4 and level 5.
Right.
But this still needs quite some time.
So coming
to
soon.
To come and be able to commercialize. Right.
Okay.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
All right.
Great. Cool.
Well, great. We'll have you back when there's a bigger update across all of these topics, but
maybe when the new AMG platform vehicles.
That would be great. Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. Yeah. Stay tuned on that.
I'm tuned.
Stay tuned on that.
Very tuned.
And remember our Pebble Beach encounters and Pebble Beach discussions.
Exactly.
Because Pebble Beach is a focal point for us for the US market in terms of bringing. I mean, this year we presented for the first time. It was the world premiere of the SL 680 monogram, Maybach monogram series. So that's a place for
keep your eye on Pebble.
If you can
keep meeting a Pebble.
Yes, if you can get to Pebble, it's a bucket list thing, and Mercedes always has a huge stand out there.
Huge.
They have a lot of new cars, and then of course there's always a bunch of their history out on the 18th green at the Pebble Beach golf course. But
don't forget, first vehicle in the world was not a Mercedes, but was
a Benz.
Out of our brother Benz. Yes,
yes. Johnny's apparently driven one.
No, I have.
I have driven that.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I was
in Sindelfingen.
No, I did it in Sindelfingen. I did it in South Korea, but I invite you to drive it in our classic center.
Yeah, I was down there like 2 weeks ago, and they have 3 of them. We're doing other stuff, but yeah,
we can let you drive that. Yeah,
no, I'd love to. Yeah. I drove a 1903 Simplex, Mercedes Simplex. That was good.
Yeah. Very early in my career, I went to Sindelfingen and did the whole tour, and I got to drive a 240D and the whole thing, and that still stands out in my career as I had only driven like Hondas and Toyota, like import, like slammed cars. And I was like, what am I doing here? And that still is one of the wildest things. I encourage you guys to do that again. Actually, you picked up a bunch of you're probably doing it with influencers these days. I think you take them and you just give them this immersive experience and education in automotive. And then you just go, by the way, we invented the car. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm. And they go, and this is Mercedes?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, Dimitris Psillakis, President and CEO of Mercedes-Benz North America, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It was wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you. It was a great discussion. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And enjoy Vegas.
Yeah.
The Inevitable Vodcast, brought to you by the all-electric Nissan Ariya. Inspired by the future, designed for the now.